Hi, everyone. My name is Brolin. I'm a certified public accountant, a certified fraud examiner, the president of Powerful Accounting Inc., and the author of the Designated Motivator for Accounting Professionals. And I'm here to tell you, if you are not searching for applications that eliminate data entry, you are missing the mark. Now, I found an app. It is called Bookkeep. Bookkeep solves for integrations between apps such as PayPal, or actually really payment methods or ordering systems like Grubhub, things like that, Shopify, WooCommerce. The list is never ending and they're always adding on more applications. What is awesome about Bookkeep is that you simply connect your data file, whatever it may be, to Bookkeep, and it syncs. Just use Grubhub, for instance. It puts in Grubhub income at the gross amount. Then it has expense accounts for Grubhub fees and so on. And so it allows you to not be data entering or hand keying journal entries for these types of systems. And it does it correct every single time. When I found that application, this is a conversation that I've had with my staff for years and years. We don't want to enter data. When I found Bookkeep, we implemented it immediately for every client who has either PayPal or Shopify or Grubhub or whatever it may be, so that those transactions can go in on a daily basis magically while you're sleeping. And you have the accounting that is accurate so you can make decisions. Are you selling enough Grubhub? Are the fees worth it? How much are you paying? And so many people who are using these applications have no idea what it really costs them to run through those systems. And so Bookkeep has solved for that. As an accounting professional, I always tell my staff, I want books to be correct, and I do not want you hand keying a journal entry. If you find yourself hand keying a transaction, then you need to stop and find the solution. And I can tell you right now, Bookkeep is solving that for all of our Grubhub, PayPal, again, Shopify. There's many different apps that they sync with. It's awesome. I recommend that you go take a demo today because it's so easy and it's super affordable. So go get them. Your designated motivator here. Go check out Bookkeep. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the DM Disruption. My name is Dawn Brolin, your host. I just love to help all of you. Whatever I can do just to infuse some positivity and motivation into your firm, that's what I'm here for. And today I brought on Justin Hatch with Reach Reporting because I don't know, first of all, I met him at Scaling New Heights. Just a cool dude. My friend Sean Duncan, he's out of Texas, great guy, said, hey, you got to go check out what Justin's doing. I'm like, bang, let's just do it. And it's really all about being real about what we need, real about what kind of can motivate us to maybe make a change in our firm with our processes and the technology that we're implementing. And so Justin is here to talk about to talk about how can Reach Reporting help you, but more importantly, just to have some conversation because it's always fun. So Justin, thank you so much. So tell us who the heck you are and why you're so cool.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on the show. I'm not going to say I'm cool, especially if I'm getting compared to anything like Sean. I mean, that guy's the best. He's one of my favorite people, and I only run into him at the trade shows. So, Sean, if you're listening, you got somebody out there that's trying to be like you. You know, when I grow up, I'm going to be like Sean.
Maybe we all can be. I mean,
right.
He's tall. He's pretty tall after all.
I know, for real.
So what's your story?
It's a crazy story. So I was born and raised in Canada. I grew up involved in business my whole life. I started my first businesses when I was young, and I actually started a real business when I was 21. Did a whole bunch of crazy stuff and learned how crappy business is and how you should never start one, and it's a good idea. And then I get the bright idea to go start a software company. Yeah. So we'll get to that in a minute. but yeah, we started a business, had it for several years. I ended up going into oil and gas, became a VP. We went onto the NASDAQ. We did some cool stuff, and honestly, it wasn't for me. I was kind of getting the itch, and so we kicked out. But they brought me down here to the U.S. So I'd been down here for 2 or 3 years and resigned from there and said, I'm out. I want to go start a business. And so I sat down and I said, okay, what is the thing? What's the thing I want to do? And this was an interesting time. because we, kind of accumulated a little nest egg. So we had a few minutes, and we had some time to think, which is a total fallacy. You don't have any time to think. It's a total lie, especially if you're starting a business. Uh, don't tell yourself that. But we took a little bit of time to think, and I thought about, okay, what was the number one pain point that I felt
Mm,
when I was younger, when
yeah.
I was starting a business, when I was operating a business, the pain point that we felt at the company I was at in the oil and gas. What was the number one pain point we felt, and how did we resolve that? And it came down to data.
Mm,
And everybody at that point, everybody I was talking to like rolled their eyes because this was 2015. There's like a million of these BI companies starting up, and we were throwing our hat in with like Salesforce and like
mhm.
Looker and Google. Come on, that's you got to be crazy to do that. And yet we knew we had a distinct understanding of how real the pain was, and I didn't know that everybody didn't have that. And so we said, are there other people out there that are also trying to really understand what's happening in their business? What are their financials trying to tell them? And we tried to create a solution that kind of automated that process. And what we found was it went really well, except we needed one more missing piece. There was this critical piece of the puzzle that was missing, and it was this partnership with accountants,
Right.
because we needed somebody who could come in and say, okay, I see where we're at. Yes, let me help you. And so it became this amazing relationship that we developed with CPAs, with CFOs, with bookkeepers, with advisors, with I mean the spectrum
Right.
of people that are working with their clients. And we started to work with them, and we said, what do you need? What do you want? What would you like to see? And so they played a major role in helping us determine what the software was and
Right.
how the software worked. And when we say this was created by the accounting industry, we mean it, because we frankly didn't know exactly what the accountant wanted. And so we relied on all of this feedback to say, okay, now we're going to work on this. Now we're going to work on this.
Now, so I'm going to bring you all the way back to 21 years old. I'm going to bring you back. So you knew you wanted to, well, first you wanted to be in business for yourself. You're thinking, okay, I want to go out, I'm going to start my own business. And then you found that your challenges were, and I'm guessing, you tell me, number one, I need to see reporting so I can understand what's happening within my business, the health of my business, those things. But you felt like you weren't getting really what you needed. And so when you looked back and Reach Reporting was born, you looked back and said, as a business owner, I have these challenges, but then also the business owner doesn't necessarily know how to read them. So they need the accounting professional to say, yeah, they need this, but we also need to help them interpret it, which is a whole nother thing, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so that was such a real pain that I actually still remember that vividly, just thinking, why do I have this box full of receipts? Why when I go, so my dad had a friend who was an accountant. That poor man. That poor man. I mean, he half the time he spent just trying to explain to me some of like the dumb stuff. And I hadn't gone to college at this point. I was like, oh no, I'm 21. I'm way smarter than college. And it took me a minute to figure out that I needed college in my life. And so there was those things that I was just missing. And
Right,
I didn't know how the things worked out. I didn't know how the books worked.
right,
And so for me it was saying, okay, how do we go to this poor fool and help them? But the funny thing is, this wasn't just me as young 21-year-old startup kid. This happened when I was at this oil and gas company.
okay,
I
yeah,
mean,
so
we had
move forward. We're on the NASDAQ.
we were on the NASDAQ. Like, and I still had executives coming to me and being like, oh, if we sell this, then we'll be able to have enough revenue to pay for this. I was like, whoa. Like, that's not
Right,
how it works. Like we're missing stuff here. Like you got costs. I mean, I get that you have 12 green bills, but you got debts to pay.
right,
Those already are earmarked to pay off certain, and there was so much that was missing. People didn't understand contribution margin. They didn't understand gross profit margin. I mean, legitimately, and I think that's I mean, we're talking about COVID as a pandemic. You want to know what a pandemic is?
Yeah.
People don't not understand gross profit margin. Like
Yeah.
there's a world of people out there that don't understand some of these critical principles in business.
Right.
And so then what I set out to do is say, okay, how do I work with these phenomenal accountants and provide something that is so digestible for the small business that even if they're geniuses,
Right.
it's something that they can pull open, they immediately get super valuable information out, and boom, off
Right.
we go.
Right. So, okay. So I'm gonna go back a little bit, to when you were a kid. Just not too far back. But
Like
thinking
70.
about, right? Thinking about what Justin and maybe you didn't even have this. Some people don't. I mean, I had an epiphany at 16 years old that I was going to be an accountant. Like I just knew it. It was a teacher at school who said, we had one accounting class. I mean, for goodness sake, I graduated with 38 people. Like it was a tiny school. Flopped down this packet and said, "You're in business. Go figure it out. Here's your ledgers." They were all manual. So, we back in the day were actually learned debits and credits through
Right.
like
Right.
writing them out and, putting the ledger together. So everything had to tie out. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this makes sense. I love it. So I knew that that's what I wanted to do. A lot of people, didn't necessarily have that exposure. So when you were younger, like what was did you like have like, I'm going to do this, or, I mean, not, you want to go be a big football star. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? Right. But was there something that like kind of helped pave the path for you to want to make a decision at 21 to be in business for yourself? Like why?
Yeah.
What did that look like?
Yeah. It's this is like an unbelievably loaded question, especially as I like unpack like what all the onion layers of what makes Justin Justin.
Yep.
There was a couple things that I was very sincerely I very sincerely wanted. One, I genuinely wanted to help people as well.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
genuinely wanted to make a difference. And I don't know if that comes from like some childhood insecurities or what, or if it just was something I was born with, and I just wanted to help out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create something that could be used as a tool that was really, really manageable.
Yep.
I did not do well in my years up to high school. I
Okay.
struggled in school,
Yep.
and it was weird because I couldn't quite reconcile in what intelligence was, because I was getting these grades that I felt like didn't match with how smart I was, and
Yeah.
I thought I was smart, and but these grades weren't matching. It was really hard. I mean, you said that we're going to get vulnerable. Talk about
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Let's go.
So I didn't have these things match up, and yet there was things that I knew that half my instructors didn't know,
Right.
and just the little street smart stuff. So what I said was, okay, is there something I could do? And this was before ever reach was even a thing, but is there something that I could do to genuinely make something easier? So yeah, okay, help, but like I want to simplify stuff for people.
Right.
I had a really cool experience later in life at the Nasdaq company, and I was sitting in front of a board of directors, and when you're sitting in front of a board, you're terrified, and I was presenting to them on all this stuff that was happening in my department, and so when you're terrified, you come up with this list of all these things you want to say, and you go to every big word, so like your vocabulary is suddenly like infinitely better that day, like you like pull on these things because you want to appear really intelligent to these
Right.
people.
Like
and
you can't go like
and
this. You can't go, "Hey, board of directors, you would not believe this shit." Like you can't say that. Like that's not usually what you do.
Exactly. Like that's what I kept telling myself, is like there's no way they want to hear that. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
So I'm presenting, and they're like, one of the dudes there, he's the former CFO at NASA.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I know, like these guys insane smart,
Yep.
like insane, like educated at Wharton, but he went to boarding school, like
Yeah.
so smart. So I'm presenting to them, and as I'm presenting, he holds up his hand. He's like, Justin, we're just a bunch of old guys here. Can you explain it to us in a way that we can understand? Really distill it down for us. What just happened? Like what? So the smartest person in the world, and documented proof that he is the most intelligent
Right.
person in the world, just told me to simplify things. So I didn't look at this and say, oh, tells me how intelligent I am. No. What I looked at it and said was, this helps me realize that no matter who we are, we need to be distilling down information before we give it out.
Yes.
We have to distill it down. We have to, and this has become our reach motto, we have to absorb complexity.
Mm.
So when the data flows through reach, we absorb complexity before we give it to the next person. And so I realized that day, that moment, that no matter who we are, no matter how intelligent we are, we need stuff distilled, because data is data is data, and data takes calories.
Yes.
Now, if you're trying to increase your caloric burn, great. Put more data in your life, or maybe just go grab a textbook and try to digest that. But if we're trying to genuinely understand stuff, we need to be looking at it on an information level and knowledge level, not the data level. Like, we don't
Absolutely.
just because I can figure out where an IP address is doesn't mean I should. Like, there's tools. Just because I can do all the math in my head or on paper doesn't mean I shouldn't use my calculator. Like, we should be using the tools that we have, the resources that we have at our fingertips, and we should be simplifying stuff
Yes.
so that it's really easy to grasp.
I love that because it's funny. I just did I don't know, say it was a keynote for a company through Zoom, which is always makes it weird. And they're just sitting there and I don't even think half of them are paying attention.
And they're all on mute, so when you tell a great joke, nobody laughs.
Yeah. And I'm laughing. I think it's hilarious.
Right, I know.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, I'll be by myself. But it's so funny you say that because I said to them, there are certain things that accounting firms have to recognize. And one of them is, and we talk about in the book, reassessing your success. It's like, why would you want to, exactly your example, add things up in your brain? Why would you want to try to come up with a formula and then use, a calculator to do it or whatever, when those types of things can be automated and that's okay. Like, we don't have to, like, I don't think I'm cool if I'm like 40 out of 100 is 40%. Like, first of all, that's the only kind of percentage I could come up with was, like 102 over 36. I'm done. I can't do that division. You're not getting a percentage out of that. I mean, I think it's around 34%, but I don't know the exact number. So I feel like what you're talking about with the tools that we have available to us, you're exactly right. I don't need to increase my brain capacity and utilize calories in my coconut because, first of all, I don't have a really big head, so I'm not trying to lose any weight up here. It's other areas, but it's so true. It's like, why not take it? And it doesn't make it so that you're not utilizing your brain in a way that you're becoming unintelligent or less intelligent. It's just that you're utilizing and maximizing resources and honestly taking the minutia out of your brain and eliminating that will give you opportunity and space for more intelligence.
Right. And so then the opposite is also, or the downline is also true, where our clients are in the same place.
Yes.
They could learn accounting. Like, these people aren't idiots. Like, they're usually pretty intelligent humans. I mean, they founded a business, they've worked on it, they became an executive in it or whatever.
Right.
But just because we could present them with really hard to understand data doesn't mean we should.
Right.
And so if we can not only use those tools to our advantage to help us be better, or as levers to really leverage our skills,
right,
but then we also give it to them so that they can understand it in that simple way. I mean, obviously this is a far cry from what that 16-year-old was thinking about, but
sure.
But it was really at those days that I started to say, okay, what would be cool is if we could do this, but then automate it.
Right.
And that's what Reach is all about right now, is absorbing complexity, but really automating the process.
Right.
We look at these at our accountants, with hard eyes, and there's this one lady, and I pick on her all the time. She's one of my favorite human beings. But she was telling me about the reports that she built every single month, and she was telling me how she did it. And because of the nature of the systems out there, we didn't even really have the fathoms. They weren't really a thing yet. And so what she was doing was She was going to QBO. She was downloading the data into an Excel spreadsheet. She was manipulating in there, putting in charts and graphs, taking screenshots of the charts and graphs, putting them in Microsoft Word, and then putting her commentary in there and sending it to her clients. And we said, this is ridiculous.
I'm looking for a knife. I'm looking for a knife so I can stab myself, because that sounds terrible.
It is like it's legit. And she was telling us, what her processes were like and how she did it every single month and how she was able to kind of automate certain things because she left bodies of text in there. And we just thought, no. We said, we need to solve that problem first and foremost, because once you put the tourniquet on, then you can start dealing with like the small stuff,
The wounds, exactly.
yeah, like we got to stop the bleeding.
Yes.
And so we first set out and we said, okay, let's do that, let's automate that part of it. Let's make it so that whenever you log in, it's updated with the new data that's in QuickBooks. Whenever you log in, it's updated with the new month that we're in. So not only is it in the new data that's in QuickBooks, but it's pulling the most recent last month.
Right.
Or even the current month if you want.
Sure.
Let's make it so that we can put in text, but you can put numbers into the text. Like you can drop in like total income and have it update for you. Little things to automate that. And so now we had the tourniquet on.
Yeah.
Now we had the turn. Okay, so now we're not hemorrhaging. Now this analogy is like going too far.
No,
Anybody that has a sensitive stomach's like, oh, I'm out. Oh gosh, I gotta
Most of our listeners watch Grey's Anatomy, so we're good.
Okay, good. So we have this situation now. We're still in rough shape. We've been beaten up, but now we're not dying.
Yeah.
So now, what are the things that we can do to improve the quality of life at that point?
Yeah.
And that's where we've started to have so much fun with Reach, because now we're able to start saying, okay, now what do you guys want now? And we'll go out and I'm not kidding. Like we have lists of all of the things people are requesting and the things they ask for on a regular basis. And then we give each thing gets a vote every time somebody asks for it. And so then it gets bumped up or down on the list.
Yep.
And so we have this stuff where we're now able to create things where it's now satisfying that I want to really help out. I really want to make the world a better place, because now the audience is telling us even more, but now they're telling us more luxuries.
Sure.
Now they're saying, oh, hey, it'd be really cool is if we could do this by class, but then have this come in from this project and then apply it to this. But then I want every column to be this. Wouldn't that be so cool? And then automate it, and make it so that every month it stays live. So you're not going in and updating it every single blinking month.
Well, and it's really at the end.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, and it's all about, and this is one of the whole points of the designated motivator for accounting professionals. And what we're trying to do is to expose practitioners to something new and different. Now, yes, change is hard. We get that. Change is hard when you really have to learn a new complicated system or a new tool or this and that, or maybe having some kind of complicated integration. And that does happen maybe in some situations. But when you can literally plug something in to the data that's already been populated and take it out and make it meaningful, more than just a P&L and a simple P&L and a balance sheet that you can get from any accounting software. That's, those are not necessarily always the end result that we need. We need a bit more insight than that. And so, I definitely find that firms are wanting to move out of the world of Excel and Word documents and PDFs and, having to redo things month after month after month or whatever. One of the biggest things I think, and this is Sean would definitely agree with me, is from an advisory perspective. So for those people who are looking for reporting that's meaningful and purposeful, that can cause a conversation with a client. And I think that's, and I was talking about it earlier today, I find that a lot of bookkeepers, and I think more in that area than anything, is they want to hang on to their bookkeeping. They want to hang on to data processing. They don't want to let it go because they can't imagine what else they would do. What would I do if I was not handling data entry, data management, and all of this? What would be my purpose? Well,
and then the fear that I'm disposable at that.
I'm disposable. The fear of the replacement of people is real. The fear that what you're doing now, 5 years from now, will be obsolete and you'll have no purpose. It's the total opposite of that. It's the opposite. It's that same old saying of when one door closes, another one opens. And it's no different here, and probably more prevalent than any other industry, in that as growth happens, opportunity exposes itself. And a lot of times that opportunity will generate double, three times as much revenue than it would doing what you were doing before. So that data entry, information gathering, that, oh, I got to do this big Excel worksheet today. Like that's
It's going to be a thing in the past. Yeah.
it is, and it actually is already. It is in many cases already. What we're trying to do is help the practitioners understand that it's okay to change. It's okay to say to your client, hey, listen, first of all, if you're going to automate all your data, make the same money for doing nothing, I'm kind of a proponent of that. I'm all in. If I can make the same money doing less work, I want to
Or
do that.
more. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
more money and less work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, in order to do that, though, you have to implement tools within your practice that will allow you to have that automation so that you can use, like you're saying, yeah, we want to be able to interpret the information for our client, but being able to have that at your fingertips and not having to manipulate it, which, by the way, huge human error, huge human risk of error,
Right. Right.
when you can automate it. And so, that's some of the motivation that I have to say, like I was saying before, I was saying earlier, you know what? I'm leaving my office today at 2:30. You know why? Because I'm going to practice. I'm going to softball practice during tax season. I don't care. I'm going. But my
So
work is because I've implemented the systems and the processes that I've automated certain things, but I also invest the time to implement them, number one.
yeah. Yeah.
And that is a necessary evil. You've got to invest. It's not spending. You're investing time in your practice by
And in yourself. Yeah. And one of the things that we've seen that's been very powerful is for us to look at it and say, okay, yes, we can be very busy. We can do a bunch of busy work. Often busy work is the stuff that gets automated first.
right.
Because people are looking and saying there's got to be a way to make it so that I don't have to do this. So that busy work gets automated first. But what happens is like let's say we have a client and they want some sophisticated report, and let's say it's not just they don't want just a printout of the P&L and balance sheet. They want some hardcore thing on the 10th of each month. Well, what we said was, okay, now people are having to go through, they're having to create all of this by hand. And they're having to go through, and like you said, it's subject to human error and all that crap. But the real problem is they're spending so much time doing something they're just going to have to do again next month. And so they're actually, to use the proper word, damning themselves.
Yes.
They're stopping their own progression, and they don't progress because we have all this busy work. So the real value comes in when we can use this part,
Yeah.
and we can use our minds and the things that we've learned and all the stuff we've been able to draw out of the data, and then we can become curators of this.
Mhm.
So what we say is create the report once. Use a Reach template, put your own signature on it, make it yours, make it for your client, and then every month when you log back in, instead of spending all that time to rebuild the dang thing,
Mhm.
which you would have to do outside of Reach, this time curate it, hone in on and really narrow in on what's the stuff that's very valuable. Hey, I remember I had this conversation with my client last month. It was this, they mentioned this. I wonder if they would benefit from such and such a metric.
Right.
I'm going to throw this in just to see what they say. They get a call 3 days later. What the heck? When did you put this? This is gold. I didn't wait. We needed this years ago. Yeah, you mentioned something. I wanted to. What is going to make them never stop valuing you? It's stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Absolutely.
You can't
Absolutely.
have some algorithm, some AI. Anybody that tells you that there's AI that's going to be able to do that, they're delusional.
Mhm.
20 years, maybe,
Mhm.
maybe. But for the foreseeable future, we need to have eyes that can see stuff and see what's happening, and then tell a story about it.
Exactly. Now, so because we're gonna wrap up here pretty quick, but what I want to hear from you, Justin. Tell me about a client. Obviously, aren't going to name names, but a client success story that Because I think that we're all motivated by different things. I don't think people are really motivated by money. People want to have money. We're not going to be idiots about it, but that doesn't necessarily motivate me. I don't get up in the morning and go, "Oh, I'm going to go make $5,000 today." I get up and say, "What are the things," and this is reality, what are the things I need to accomplish today in order to be successful for myself and successful for my clients? And that's the approach that I like to take every morning is, who am I going to, like, where's that one client or interaction? Maybe it's not a client, an interaction that I'm going to have today that I am going to absolutely make that person have a better day in whatever capacity that looks like. So for you, within all of your stories of when you were 21 doing business, or you were at the NASDAQ, or a company with the NASDAQ, or reach reporting now, where you found somebody who was just in a position that of they weren't doing real well, and you came in and you were able to help positively affect them that day or through the course of time or whatever, there's got to be maybe one that's happened
Oh,
recently.
I
Tell
can't
me
even tell
one.
countless,
Mm-hmm.
countless stories that are similar to that. And where we are more than spoiled is then they will go and leave a review and they say the nicest thing, like they're borderline like sometimes like we've worked with a lot of people, and I mean we were in the heart of COVID. Like so there were some people that are struggling. We had some firms that shut down that we had to just be like, look, you're getting it for free, you're getting reach for free. We it is imperative to us that you guys are successful, and so when you can pay us, great. Yeah,
Right.
and not for back pay. I mean for going forward,
Moving
great.
forward.
Call us then. But until then, the software is yours. And we've insisted on those kinds of situations because and not because it's going to come back to like we don't
No, you don't give
because
to get.
people.
I always taught my kid, you never give to get, ever.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so that's such a crappy ulterior motive anyway. Like I mean, you live with yourself, like you're gonna just hold it anyway. But what we said was, okay, take it, use it, it's yours. And the best part about that is the feedback we would get. People would come back and they would be very complimentary, and they would say nice things about this, and they'd say, hey, it would be really cool, and I haven't shared this with anybody, but if you guys did this, it would be a game changer for this entire industry. And
Right.
we are all ears when
Right.
stuff like that happens. But that's aside from the question that you asked. One of my favorite stories was this couple of ladies running this amazing firm. It was amazing, and they were amazing, and they were super busy. So they knew they wanted a reporting tool, but they found us. They found us when I'll be point blank, we sucked. Like our software, like it could do cool stuff at the time, and it was really powerful, but there is so much more that needed to be done. So they had to be patient with us. But what we did was we said to them, hey, we want to work with you guys. I mean, at the time, we also really desperately needed the money.
Yeah.
And so we went to them and we said, we'll do whatever it takes. We'll do whatever it takes to get this. Well, the best part about that whole situation was they've been able to add clients like crazy, because once the processes are automated, then you can come in, and when you have a half an hour, you can actually delve a half an hour into the company. It's
Right.
not something where now, okay, now you have a half hour, now you have to do this thing that's going to take you 3 hours. I mean, if that's not like a definition of what accounting is you have a half hour of time and you have to do a job that's going to take you three. Like
Right.
that happens constantly. And so we wanted to create a relationship with them where we could really genuinely help them. So
Yeah.
they, with the feedback, with the stuff that they gave us, with the stuff that we were able to give them, and the coding we were able to do, we were able to create a solution that has made the software better for everybody. So that's benefited us dramatically.
Sure.
But
Sure.
their firm has gone bananas. Now, here's the crappy part. Once they learned the software, they now know the software better than I do. So they don't call me anymore. So I don't get to see them anymore. But they use it constantly. They've automated their processes. And then when they call me and tell me about something one of their clients said, that for me, that's like
That means
That's
everything.
so rad because there's nothing about reach reporting on our reports.
Right.
Like the
Right.
only person that knows that reach reporting even exists is the accountant.
Right.
And
Right.
so like the client's not
They don't
like
know what it is. Yeah.
yeah, and so it makes us so happy when the client comes back and is like, "You created this report for us. We've never seen a report like this, and we've never understood our business in the way that we now understand it."
So for you, as reach reporting continues to evolve and grow, and that's what I always tell people: do not get involved with applications that do not continue to grow and grow, and get better and listen, take feedback, which is super critical. And obviously, you guys are doing that. For you, it was about, we want to solve this pain point because I was in business and I didn't get this. I didn't have this. I feel like, it's kind of like when I was a kid, we didn't have X, Y, and Z. It's like, so when you were a kid in business, you didn't have this tool.
Right.
And so for you to be able to infuse a solution into a firm and watch the firm be able to take advantage of the tool and utilize it for the betterment of their clients, that's what reach reporting is all about. That's what you guys.
And that's when you go home and you're like, that felt good. That
Yeah,
felt good.
yeah,
Like we actually were able, like that's a project where it's not like a one deal.
right,
Like like we don't do contracts. We don't do contracts.
right.
We say, look, if this is providing you value each month, you stick with us. If this is not,
Don't.
then you better tell us by canceling.
Yeah,
Because don't you dare stick around just because we hit it off at a trade show.
right,
We really want people to, and we never want to have people being forced, which is the whole contract part. Like we never want people to be forced to do
right.
stuff because they got suckered into it at
Sure,
the beginning.
sure.
And so we insist on constantly updating the solution. Now, what's interesting is as as we've adopted, so we actually like we're growing like crazy, which has been so much fun. But as we've adopted a lot of this functionality, that opens up the door for some other companies to come in.
Sure.
Like firms that deal with restaurants. You want to know people that deal with real pain? It's that 445 reporting. That is a nightmare.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and so they've said there's no reporting solutions anywhere that can do that. Can you help? And so we got something coming out that's going to be able to really help. So it's that kind of stuff that we love because we just love building new cool stuff. And so you're going to start seeing even, I mean, some incredible things coming out as the next couple months. You're going to see some cool stuff, and then this next year is going to be phenomenal
So would it
for
be
some new
fair?
data and stuff.
Would it be fair, Justin, to say to the audience, I'm just going to say it anyway, and you're going to have to agree with me, otherwise, whatever. So I would say if you are a practitioner who is still living in Excel for various more complex reporting, or the original accounting solution cannot give you the reports that you're looking for, specific reports, especially like in the restaurant industry, or contractors, or anybody who has any kind of complicated reports that you're not able to do natively in an accounting solution, which is normal almost across the board unless you want to spend 100 grand
Right.
a year. um,
Right.
they can say, hey, Justin, here's my report. This is what I need to do. They can give you feedback, reach out to you, Justin Hatch, and say, hey, this is a pain point. I need it solved for. This would help this industry or whatever. They can reach out to you. And that is a relationship that you're inviting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like, in fact, connect with me on LinkedIn. Like I'll put my money where my mouth is. Like we do it all the time that we insist on those types of relationships. At first we were saying, okay, let's make this for every business out there. Well, at that point you have to be low touch.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Yeah.
There's just not enough of us to go around. but instead, once we started working with the accountants, then they work with their clients. So they have the 10, 100,000, whatever. But most of the accounts we work with are working with 10 to 25 clients.
Right.
Like that is such a normal amount. And that is a fantastic amount.
Yep.
Because they're able to service those clients with a phenomenal tool. But yes, absolutely have them reach out if there's ever anything they want to see in the solution, or even if they just want to chew the fat, because we
Sure.
love that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for those of you listening, and in the show notes, you'll have all the contact information to be in touch with Justin. Again, this whole podcast is about helping you as the practitioner better your firm, because we know if we can help all of us be better, our clients can survive. And really, at the end of the day, we are their financial doctor. We are the reason that they stay alive, only because without the analysis and the tools that we provide to them, they wouldn't know where to go, where to look. And Justin kind of
Yeah.
talked about that. So Justin, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a great conversation. Like I said, I mean, you were awesome at Scaling New Heights, and it was just really awesome to meet you. And your tool can solve for so much. So, any last words before we jump off?
I love the industry. I didn't know as a kid that I would be making a software, because that's a pretty geeky thing to do, and I didn't know that I'd be in reporting, because that's a pretty geeky thing to do. But I am having the time of my life creating this, but really seeing what the industry can do with the reports, the report builder. That's the best part, is seeing what you guys do once you get the tool, because we can create some cool stuff, but we only know this much about what's happening in the industry and the market and stuff. When we have our power hitters come in, like our accountants that are creating these powerful tools, it's
Awesome.
a thing to see. It is awesome.
That's awesome. Well, you've been awesome. So speaking of awesome, and certainly glad to have you, and look forward to building a relationship with you as we continue to move forward. And so thank you to everybody who's listening, and we'll see you next time on the DM Disruption, when we're just going to keep on firing you up and helping you make changes and just making life better for you and your clients. So thanks everybody for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out. Peace.